I'm told there was a big football game this weekend past Sunday. Las Vegas, Nevada, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. Now, I don't know anything about all that stuff. I am worse than an idiot when it comes to American football, the NFL. But I've been told it was worth a watch. If you were invested in greatness at the highest level of sports, as I am, I was told reliably that it was worth a watch. Now, I don't get my kicks out of American football. You know me already. You will find me watching F1 or boxing or a UFC fight or Muay Thai. All of that stuff is right up my alley. But nevertheless, I'm invested in greatness and moreover, the clutch gene. And in this football game, we saw this. There is a young fella, a quarterback that they're now talking about amongst the greatest of all time. His name is Patrick Mahomes, and everything went against him this game. The defense suffocated him. They rushed him. His offense wasn't playing well. He couldn't find his wide receivers. But yet and still, that notwithstanding, Patrick Mahomes came up with the goods. 29 years old, now the winner of 3 Super Bowls. That is bonkers. He has the clutch gene in abundance. The clutch gene being the ability to delve into the deepest of his loins and tap into the best and highest of achievements when it counts most. Patrick has that, and quite rightly, now he's being discussed amongst the greats, potentially one day even better than one quarterback called Tom Brady. And that got me to thinking, who of the current grid in F1 in 2024 has the clutch gene in abundance? Who is the Patrick Mahomes of F1? Now, of course, you can make that argument about Lewis, 7-time champion. Max Verstappen similarly belongs in that argument, and one day will be talked of as a GOAT. And it got me to thinking about Charles Leclerc, because I think we've got a conversation to have. Now, let me preface all that I'm about to say. Close your ears and eyes if you are a Charles Leclerc fan, because we are about to go into very deep truth-saying territory. Now, we all know that Charles Leclerc is brilliant, probably every bit as good as Patrick Mahomes in an equivalent sport. He's brilliant, is Charles Leclerc. A to B, all of the aficionados worth their metal acknowledge his speed. In absolute terms, he's probably one of the quickest pedalers that we have ever seen. Perfect. Take that to the bank. But why is he not getting it done? Okay, so you want to argue that Charles has never had the car to win a championship, nor the operational infrastructure, nor the strategic minds in Ferrari requisite to win himself a DC. Granted, take that all on board, but surely the clutch gene, the very greatest of them, are able to swim in those murky, difficult waters upstream. That's where you see their clutch gene. Now, Charles Leclerc hasn't been in a Super Bowl like Patrick Mahomes. He hasn't been in the context where he's able to win himself a championship. So you could also argue that he hasn't seen the circumstance where you'd see that clutch gene pop to the fore. But nevertheless, if he ever gets to that stage where he's competing with a Max or a Lewis or a Georgie Russell, he needs to stop making these unforced errors. As Exhibit AC Imola 2021, as your Exhibit BC Monaco, pretty much every year or as near as makes no difference. As your Exhibit CC Paul Ricard 2022, as your Exhibit CC Singapore Pit Stops 2023, Brazil qualifying 2022, going out on the Inters when it wasn't even raining yet. There are a plethora of mistakes, granted all of which aren't Charles Leclerc's fault, but nevertheless he has a hand in fixing them. He knows Ferrari can't make these decisions, so be assertive enough then, Charles. Be the person who we all think you can be to overturn these decisions, contribute to these strategic conversations, just like the guy on the other side of the grid, Carlos Sainz Jr., does on a weekly basis. You know, I've often argued that if you could blend Charles Leclerc's speed and his outright pace over one lap with the nous and the race savvy of Carlos Sainz Jr., then you'd have the perfect driver. But as at February 2024, we can't do that. The greats don't make many unforced errors. Now, it's very romantic to look at all of Charles' positives because he's a brilliant driver, reminiscent of Gilles Villeneuve in his hay. But you've got to consider his weaknesses. Look at him holistically in totality. I can't do the Charles Leclerc fan thing and disregard those. He has a vulnerable underbelly, does Charles, and we will see it again in 2024. Now, football has its second coming. The next one has a name. His name is Patrick Mahomes. But for F1 fans and Charles Leclerc fans specifically, hoping that their charge is the next one, with aforementioned unforced errors and strategic vulnerability, I think their faith, sadly, might be misplaced.